What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Modest Jones. Yo, I had a blast getting blazed with Dro TV. Yo, they brought me on Woo Wednesday after my Takao Tuesday, so you know I was dropping all those gems. We've tapped into everything from destigmatization, opening up these states, getting federally legal, and just spreading peace, love, and Takao. Peace.
Welcome to My First Time, the show about your first time getting high on marijuana. I'm your host, Mike Freeman with Dro TV. Today, I'd like to welcome our guest, Modest Jones. How are you?
Hey, my name is Modest Freeman Jones, so I don't know, maybe we're related.
Wow. I'll have to.
My dad's a Freeman.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. Well, I've got something we could expand on, but we'll not waste time in this show here. Very interesting. I like that. Well, Modest, you can find more of Modest, and you can find Modest on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat. I'm sure you have a website as well, but we'll have all the links in the description below. So if any of those tickle your fancy, you can go follow Modest on there. So thanks for coming on Dro TV today. Let everyone know where you're located, Modest, and a little bit about what you provide to the cannabis community.
Well, thank you for having me. And I'm currently in Las Vegas, Nevada. I tend to move around a little bit. I moved here from the East Coast 11 years ago, be 12 years in April. I've been bringing a lot of love and light and peace and destigmatization and energy and passion and bridging gaps and bringing people together in the cannabis industry out here. I helped put some footwork in to bring the industry from our underground, our legacy market up to the mainstream. And I continue to act as a liaison and just a connector of people and a energy shifter.
Awesome.
I've been emceeing all the cannabis awards, the Bud Tender Awards. I write for Vegas Cannabis and Tahoe Cannabis magazine. On the brand rep for Takao for Nevada for Method Man.
Wow.
You see me, I'm around.
Awesome. I love it. East Coast, you sound like you've got maybe some Brooklyn, Bronx.
Well, yeah, I moved here from Brooklyn. I'm
Okay.
originally from Massachusetts, so I was born in Massachusetts, but I always spent so much time in New York from when I was a kid. That's where all the fashion was,
Sure.
all the hip hop, and I like to say that hip hop community raised me. So you're gonna hear and see a lot of that in me, my look, my demeanor, and hear it in my voice, I guess.
I love it. I started DJing when I was 15. I have a small record label out of Massachusetts. I'm a Worcester kid.
I went to Framingham State. That's where I graduated from.
All right, cool.
That's dope. We definitely got to expand more. We got a lot to tap into.
Yeah, for sure. My artist, one of my biggest artists, he has I could pull the shirt out. He has a song with Method Man.
Oh yeah, what's his name?
M Dot.
Okay, what's the name of the song?
It's called Shine.
Okay.
And we got a really cool animated video.
Look, my name is Matt, and my neighborhood is cracked up. Moms are smoking pack up. Nash pills and heroin. I'm better than I ever been since I got my stats up. A little soap.
Okay.
And we got a really cool animated video that kid animated out of Serbia.
Dope.
It's really dope.
How long ago did it come out?
The song came out in like 2013, 2014, and the video came out 2017.
Okay.
And
I want to check it out.
he has a part two. Method Man was in a studio that a producer we know in LA. He was in the studio and the engineer said, leave some beats, I'll play them for Meth.
Yeah.
The next day, the engineer called and said, Meth laid down a couple verses on one of your beats. And so he got my artist on the song because my guy's a extremely hard worker and talented guy. So
that is super dope. That doesn't
cool.
surprise me. If Meth hears a dope beat, he's probably gonna start rhyming or writing or both or all the things.
Yeah. And he's got beats from Large Professor and Marley Marl. So yeah, I think I think you'd like some of the music. But enough of that.
Hear that? I'm a music head, so let's go.
All right. Awesome. Well, this is the Modest Jones episode, and we want to know about the first time you got high. The show's my first time, Modest. So,
Oh man. All right. So I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. The first time I got high, I was 11. My sister and her girls, they had a hip hop group called Young and Unique, Springfield, Massachusetts. And a few of the girls in the group were Jamaican. So fair to say, like the family members would be around, we'd be at their houses, they'd be practicing over there. And of course, the brothers, the Rastas for sure, would be token up in the corner chilling. And I didn't dance. I was just little sis. I was just kicking it. And I always took to that Rasta, that island vibe. And there was always such a peace coming from the area where those guys would kick it and they'd be building. And now that I'm older, I realized they were building a lot of the things that we're working on now, the activism, the destigmatization. They were like really building like how to get it legalized, right? Because
sure.
those cats were big followers of like Marley and like Selassie and all the things. And it's interesting looking back now because I'm gonna be 40 next month. So 11, it was like way different. But yeah, they passed, it was probably a leaf, some type of banana or Fanto leaf at that time, you know. They passed the leaf my way and I hit it and I liked it and I smoked with them and I was cool and I was cooling out. And, you know, that culture carried me into high school because, like, you know, middle school, we was 7th grade, most of us was tapping in, figuring out the weed, some of us the shrooms, like, you know, that was a very like Pink Floyd, The Doors, of course, like when the hip hop scene, the Wu-Tang, the Black Sheep, and somehow all of those people were tapped into that cannabis culture. So we wanted to tap in too, but just automatically seeing how light I was, and you know, I'm an indica girl, so I hadn't tapped into like sativa or even knew the difference back then, but just knowing what it does to my body, I know it must have been indica because this very relaxed, peaceful vibes. Even to this day now with the sativas, that's that like that paranoid, like too much, like you know, you
Sure.
gotta mellow it out a little bit because I'm already really up, like I'm all up. So that's what I'm gonna presume it was back then. You know, I didn't have all the genetics like stamped and the terps stamped on the back of the package.
Sure.
So it just was what it was. You know, we were smoking, what were we smoking? Stress and AZ and like, gosh, but even still back then, when the purple came out, that was like a big deal, right? And
Yeah.
purple still can be hard to come by these days, depending on what market you're in, you know. And sour diesel, I don't see a lot of that. And a lot of stuff people call sour diesel now don't smell like it did back
Right.
then,
Right.
you know. But yeah, and I actually stayed tapped in with those gentlemen. I think one of those dudes ended up being my first kiss too, like a few years later.
Wow. There you go.
But yeah, that's my first time, and I like it because I could hang with an older crew after that because I could hold myself. I didn't have to worry about like being paranoid or freaking out or not being able to handle it because I knew how to like sesh with the OGs, you know. So I
Yeah.
think that carried into my career and into my life, you know.
That's great. And when did
Like, sorry.
cannabis become a part of your life where took Modest Jones to a business level?
Well, okay, so cannabis has always been a part of my life since that day that I told you about. However, I took a break because, you know, I used to smoke mad weed in school, like high school, college. I sold mad weed in college, like most of us probably did. And the last couple years of college, when I was like selling weed, I was working at Steve Madden, the shoe store. I was working at Express, the clothing store. I was working at Pizzeria Uno. Like I'm in Natick now, like you know what I mean? So
Right.
I was working at not Legal Seafoods, but it was another like oyster bar type spot, like right next to that. I can't think of the name of it right now, but like the chowder, like a chowder cup or some type of joint like
Sure.
that. So if those last 2 years I didn't smoke, but I was still selling it, so it was still active in my life. And then the homeboy got deported back to Bermuda, I think, or Bahamas, I think Bermuda, because he was the one that was bringing us all the trees, and they deported him and I wasn't smoking at all. I had repeated my junior year of college because I was drinking, I was partying. I was like 17 when I went to school. So I was like getting turned up and working all the time. I wasn't doing my work. So when I got out of school, I still didn't smoke weed. I had a communications degree though. And I started tapping into like the Connecticut, and I'm Massachusetts, the hip hop scene like up and coming artists, like, and it moved me into more established artists. And even though I wasn't smoking weed, I was rolling for people.
Okay.
So it was still like a major part of my life. And I was majorly a part of the underground, especially tapping into like the Wu-Tang days and the different promotions I did back then for meth. And like that 421 the day after tour was very centered around, the family was very centered around weed, like, and that's just been part of the culture. Um, when I actually started smoking weed again, it was when after I had my little one, he'll be 9 in January. And I was just like trying to leave his dad, just trying to get accustomed to the fact that I'm raising 3 boys by myself. I was like wrapping up the breastfeeding process. And I started to enjoy those nights out on my porch swing when all the boys were asleep and I could just have me time. And I really found that I tapped into my true self and my self worth. And it made me like less likely to deal with situations that weren't for me, and it just gave me kind of awakening where I decided what type of woman I wanted to really be. And I just appreciated the plant so much for it that when I was bartending, I had 2 regulars and they were planning a magazine called Vegas Cannabis Magazine. And they were my regulars. I was their bartender, server, hostess at this pizza shop called Grinders here in Vegas. And moving from 13 into 14, they created the magazine and started delivering it to the pizza shop, and I started building with them, but we were still very like low key, like underground back then. It was still kind of like sesh life, like all the things, like the vending opportunities and stuff. It was all very like hush hush, And I was pretty used to the lifestyle from New York and knowing like that behind this building, there might be this going on, and downstairs from here, or go down to the third light pole in this spot, and the different, like, that's our underground, that's our world, like, and I feel like Vegas Cannabis was definitely a vehicle that helped me start tapping in with more cannabis companies and just people that had a dream, just cannabis activists and just cannabis consumers and lovers. And so I think my first big cannabis event was Champs here in Vegas.
Okay.
Must have been 2018, probably. I was doing some CBD activism. So I was working for a CBD company that was way more accepted back then. At that point, I was tapping into normal, Las Vegas normal, helping with the regulations, just being like another body, but like a passionate voice, and just always the love for the plant. But now I'm consistently consuming again, and I'm changing. Honestly, like I'm wearing more clothes and I enjoyed that. Feeling more self-worth, like speaking less, listening more, building.
Mhm.
And it was around 2018, same time, probably 18, 19, that I left my regular 9 to 5. And I realized that I could make the same money doing the freelance jobs I had been doing, but cannabis still wasn't paying me enough to do cannabis like full time. But I picked up a brand ambassador job with Old Pal, repping weed. So, it was always like a struggle because I was super in the beverage industry probably since like '08. Back when I lived in New York, I was modeling. When I had my babies, they were modeling. And the promo modeling game really turned into beverage because there was like a lot of money there. That's when I first got in with Anheuser-Busch. I'm still with them. I'm actually about to go do a gig with them, but low key, we can talk about that. Cannabis is my passion and they know it. Everybody knows it. Um, I stepped to my manager. We were actually pretty cool at the time. And I told her, I said, I love cannabis. It's my passion. Is there a way we could try to figure out how I can make enough that I don't have to do liquor? Because I don't even drink. Like, I don't even really believe in pushing liquor on the people like I do the plant, And the money just wasn't right. The money was right with the liquor. I had to do way less for way more money,
Mhm.
and I got 3 sons I'm raising by myself. So I had to balance that out. But I did get myself into a position where I started doing some marketing consulting, building some brands, some behind the scenes, some getting in front. And I got in a position where I could pick brands that I really believe in. So Old Pal, not to no shade, like much love, but they had the marketing I totally believed in, just beautiful, beautiful branding. But the weed was not it for me because if I'm around like real cannabis connoisseurs, like people that like, a lot of us are bougie nowadays. Like we like some weed, it's gotta get us high. We wanna sniff that and like fall out and we smell it like, damn, like that's some stanky weed, like, and I wasn't getting that in the price point that Old Pal was in. So I started doing some consulting and just like tapping in. I do a lot of research. I've done a lot of reading, listening, attending, you know what I mean? And now, thank God, shoot to 2022, I'm in a position where I could prioritize the companies I want to. So it's gone around full circle with me and the woo, and like, repping Meth's brand is really important to me because I've always known him as being the person that smoked the best weed I ever seen. Like, you know what I mean? And also just a human that shaped the culture.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So that's pretty much my story. But man, the plant has something for everyone. I'm a strong believer. I advocate that everywhere where anyone will listen, and some places where they won't. But I feel like there's something, I don't pressure people to be high or whatever have you, but that endocannabinoid system we have built in our body, that's not for nothing.
Right.
And seen it create situations where someone that was called special or was in special ed or different names they use labeled for people that they think are behind would get some CBD oil even as a child. And I know that can be controversial, but it's real.
Mm-hmm.
um get some CBD oil and be focused and advancing, like, and I'm just like, oh, this is my calling. So what I've been doing is utilizing all of my partners and just helping to create more unity in the community, and just like linking people with each other in ways that we could build, and we could show them better than we can tell them, and also hopefully heal this whole shit, like heal everything with the plant, and with each other, with the love,
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
Hey everybody, I want to quickly mention Food Forest Abundance. Food Forest Abundance is a great way to create your own self-sustaining food forest and naturally occurring ecosystem that's commonly found in nature, but designed specifically for you. Through multiple layers of trees, shrubs, herbs, vines, rhizomes, mushrooms, and perennial vegetables, you can become your own supply chain without the typical maintenance required of a garden. From small spaces to large areas, both urban and suburban, Food Forest Abundance wants us to get back to our roots in nature by engaging with our food production in a meaningful way. For more information, click on the link in the description below and start your journey today. Okay, let's get back to today's episode.
No, I love it. You're very passionate, and
Oh.
that's great. We need more people like you. So,
I appreciate that.
and yeah, the endocannabinoid system, it's something that I think some people are just realizing even exists. And I'm here in Orlando, Florida now. There's definitely, everyone retires to Florida. So there's an older generation, I guess, and getting them to understand the benefits of marijuana and then trying to explain to them about an endocannabinoid system. In some ways it's almost too much. But
There's a few states that are a little behind in the times, you know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't even blame it on the older people per se, because, we have different groups, and like some of the OGs like will tell you about the plant in a way that you didn't even know, right? And then some of the OGs are starting to loosen the stigma. If they were more closed-minded, start to open their mind. I had a couple in the dispensary yesterday. I had Takal Tuesday yesterday, right?
okay.
I love you got me on here on Wu-Tang Wednesday right after Takal Tuesday, right? So I'm in Top Notch in Henderson, and I'm doing my Takal pop-up. I had this couple, I promise you, they couldn't have been any younger than like 80 years old. And he was like, "What's the deal?" And I'm like, "I got Takal. I got Ace for $33. I got 3 for 58. He's like, "Takal?" He said, Takal. Like, he was serious, right? He was like, "Okay, what's this?" And I showed him like a rolling tray that when you fold it up, it's like a rolling tray. And he's like, "Oh, because I could put my flour and I'm gonna roll my joint." And his lady's like, "Come on, it's our turn. Like, it's right over there." And they were just like so funny. I was telling my homeboy because he was filming, I was like, "You gotta clip that. Like, I gotta show everybody. I gotta show that." He was like, to call. So it just like depends on who you get, you know what I mean? And yeah, the more we all speak out in a positive way, or they see like we're upbeat, we're well put together, like well spoken, taking care of our children, taking care of our responsibilities, but we're consumers. But the best part, I think, is we're the ones out on the road. We're not like, "Get the fuck out." We're like, "Oh, you're in a rush." Like, okay. Like, we're chilling, like, So I just feel like at this point, if we can show them better than we can tell them that the plant is in this plane, the spectrum where the peace and the love are. And the other side is really confusion and chaos, right? So
Right.
if you're like I'm not trying to take anything away from anyone, or I don't want to like, this is just my opinions. Like the alcohol for me, like with my system, no, it doesn't sit with me. It's not the best part for me. So that goes on that confusion and chaos spectrum for me. And the peace and the love is with the plants for me. And it's not just cannabis. There's plenty of plants, but the cannabis is just like so beautiful and such a gift, right? So there's
Sure.
certain things you can't deny, like about the plant, right? So I just keep doing everything I can to beat down the door and let as many people as I know, because I feel like I have the message. It's a message of wisdom and truth and forgiveness and perseverance. And it's all part of our community, but we have to represent that properly. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, for sure.
see us at each other's neck and we're beefing and we're catty and it's cannabis and it's all like, no offense to anyone, but it's all naked ass. Like, and you can only get a bud tender that's a pure naked stripper. Like, it's like, well, I mean, that's not really like of our plant culture. I mean, it is what it is. It's 2022. People got to do whatever's working for them, right? But where I'm coming from, I'm like, it doesn't all have to be like that, y'all. Like, yeah, we can get high with the homies, but even back in the day, enemies were sharing the peace pipe and they had been warring for God knows how long, and they could sit by each other and pass the plant. So, let's go. So that's what Takal about, taking into consideration all lives. And I'm on that mission. And I'm sure now you can see why I chose that brand and chose that man as my leader, the 4 leaders. I mean, that wavelength, all of us on that mindset, that's just 4 of us with everybody and all the people that are attached to us. Now I got you guys attached to us. It just builds a momentum. And that's that unity. And that's what the plant wants, right?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That was a great way to say it. I'm 40. I
Oh, you
turned
look
40.
young too. Look at us. Y'all see
Hey,
us? This is 40, y'all.
yeah, stunting and cheesing. But maybe most of the people I know or interact with down here are probably 60 and older. And I think the conditioning, right? That's where I feel like get the most like pushback. It's not even really pushback. I think it's education. And, when I was talking about the medical uses of marijuana and then explaining what an endocannabinoid system, they've been somewhat brainwashed to think,
absolutely.
where the younger generation, they're like with it, like, oh yeah, oh sure, of course,
Well,
yeah, oh, I just take this and I feel better.
I know a couple things about Florida because I've had my eye on you guys. You guys in Texas, like, okay, so I went to Florida to Miami to be on a show like last year. You ever heard that show Rap Shit with Issa Rae?
Yeah,
I went down there just to do like a little cameo, like a little something, right? So
okay.
when I was down there, like I tend to find the like stoners, right? Like we find each other, like, and especially like stoner people, we find each other, friend with weed, friend indeed, we makes friends, all the things. Wu-Tang people tend to find each other. New York people find each other. East Coast people, we find each other. So a lot was happening, right? So we kind of turned in like a mainstream, like regular club lounge thing into like a sesh. Like it turned into a thing, right? So what I realized when I was down there is something that I have put in action in a couple other states. I don't want to incriminate myself too much, but I'll just let you know so I could give you guys like a little game. So what I found is, like attracts like, right? So I am of weed. I am of many things, of joy, of love, of Wu-Tang. I'm of like New York, of East Coast, of all the things, right? So I would track that, right? Law of attraction. Okay. Now, if we get these people together, no matter how small the group is, no matter how diverse, if it's the young ones you're talking about, the old ones, the exceptions to the rule, whatever. When 3 or more are gathered, like that's powerful, like already. But when you're bringing in people that are powered, a lot of people on the plant, like working with the plant medicine, are going to elevate, like are vibrating higher, right? So you're getting some pretty dope, well-versed humans, right? We come together, we're talking. If we could figure out who's down within the community, that's already a petition we could make, like with people that could write, like I can write, you could figure out what grants are needed for people that can write. You need grant writer or somebody that's willing to take the class or somebody's willing to fund it or whatever have you. And then that way you could buy out some areas where that's your area to kind of do what you want to do. And that kind of gives you like a background, like foundation to build on, right? So now there's an opportunity for land, there's an opportunity for group of people. And these are all individuals with their own individual resources. So if we're being true to our intentions and good humans and honest, we could really kill it, right? But the key that I found, and I want to thank an organization, CEIC, for that. And that's like, diversity, equity, inclusion community, you got to find who your supportive politicians are. Now, in some areas, it seems a little wonky, right? But you have to know that there is somebody in that area that either consumed some weed, saved a life with some weed, their life was saved with some weed. Somebody's not anxious, somebody's skin cleared up, somebody has an appetite, somebody something touched their life with the plant enough that there might be like a little opening. And I just need a little bit. I just need a little bit of an opening to show you like a little something. I don't care if it's a pure hemp oil and it's just plain. I don't care if it's a bath bomb and you feel nothing. CBD doesn't work for me. Well, it's filling in lack inside of you that you may not even be aware of. You're probably not. And it's working for sure. It's not getting you high. A lot of us like it with THC for that balance. Some people get nauseated with it on its own, a headache. I don't trust your body, right? We're listening to our body. We find a person like that has some skin in the game, if you will. We get ourselves a cheat sheet like CEIC does, and they're making, when you look it up, they're game changing over here. I mean, they just took it off Schedule 1. They getting it off. You can't like test for that, firing people, all the different things in the consumption lounges. They're just really building it, right? Those cheat sheets are helpful because then you know who to vote for that has some skin in the game that may, and the more people you vote for like that just have an interest in the possibility that cannabis might not be crack, if you will, Yo, I met some people on the reservations in New Mexico. Within a year, I made change. New Mexico is popping, okay? And I'm not taking all the credit, but I put some skin in that game, and it's not all super easy or over the top federally legal, clearly. So sometimes it's a little risk that you're taking. And this is not a message from Takal. This is a message from Modest Jones. So I want to make that clear. My views, I'm repping Takal. That's my brand. I got so much love for it. But my views may not specifically be Method Man or Takal's or Wu-Tang's views. So I'm just speaking on that, just to say that. But however, what I see is all that energy, and then with the knowledge, we're researching now. We're finding out who actually could make change. We're dishing that out so that people can see, research that name, and make decisions for themselves. But at least we know that these 10 people, these 5 people, these 20 people, these 2 people could possibly see benefits in the plant in some way, whether it's medical rec, whatever the stipulations are, but it's enough. And I've seen it change. And I played with Florida low key, and I keep saying I'm gonna come back. I got my eye on Texas too. Y'all don't be coming for me, but I know we can do this. We can do this and break the stigma. And as we do, you'll see more and more really prominent figures, household names, really stepping in to put skin in the game because they're not on their neck all the time. Like companies are like not fucking with us a lot. Like, so breaking stigma, educating ourselves, but being willing to use this energy for the greater good of all and opening our mind. Like that's what that plan is about. It's about expansion,
Yeah, 100%.
I get worked up. I better smoke some weed. I'm tripping.
Yeah. Get some double indica.
I got something. I have a hybrid right now. It's called the Blue Tang Cookies.
All right.
I got my stuff. I was gonna light that shit.
Spark it up.
You can't smoke with me.
I can. Yeah, no, I can't. But
I'll
Modest,
smoke.
it's been awesome speaking with you. Some really great stuff in here. Let everybody know the best place they can find more of you.
I'm super easy to find, y'all. And I mean, I'm super easy to talk to as long as you come at me with some good intentions, because like I'm gonna feel you. So you may as well just bring me what you got, shoot it to me straight, be respectful always. I like to be like addressed with respect. I don't like those little pet names and the baby and all the weird stuff. There's plenty of people showing all their things on everything. Like if they want to be addressed like that or don't, like that's on y'all. But I show you how I want to be treated. You know what I mean? So please do hit me up, DM me if you want to, within, reason. Of course, at Modest Jones is probably the best because that's like my moving business card these days,
Sure.
showing y'all the things I'm doing where I am. But feel free to tap in. I get emails, modestjones@gmail. You could email me there. Facebook, Modest Jones, like you said, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Snapchat, Modest Jones. You type in Modest Jones, you're gonna find me. So if you're saying you're trying to find me and you ain't find me, you wasn't looking for me. So yeah, the IG is my favorite jam. I love the reels. I love being able to give you as much of my energy as I can, like moving, if you can't get with me in person, but I'd love to see you in person as well. So yeah, that's it. That's what I got at Modest Jones. We're gonna
Awesome.
smoke the cow now.
Well, we appreciate your energy today, and I want to give a shout out to Brooke, the Women in Cannabis Expos, because that's where we saw you at one of her events. We weren't there, but we saw, and that's what put you on our radar. So shout out to Brooke.
Oh, Brooke is dope. I just talked to her. We're gonna do the Women in Cannabis Expo San Francisco on 10/27, y'all. And I'm gonna be speaking about censorship in the cannabis industry. As a monetized like social media influencer, like I'm low key still. I'm just building, but they wanted me so bad, but they like shut shit down on all of us like all the time, all the shadow banning. I get a lot of like horrible glitches and things and just different giving you a lot of different ways to work through that. Because I mean, we could sit here and talk about all the shit that's messed up, but I want to help give solutions and talk about the way I want things to be for all of us. So we'll be there doing that. We'll have a panel on Canna Moms, which is also considered to be kind of controversial. But a lot of us, it helps us be better parents. So let us share that side with you, because a lot of these beautiful, successful, well put together, great mothers that you see out here are also cannabis consumers in our own ways. So again, helping break destigmatization will be at Public Works in San Francisco on October 27th. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Great.
Thank you.
And for those of you watching this on YouTube, go down there and smash the like button for Modest Jones. Leave a comment with your favorite part of this interview. Maybe your favorite Method Man song. And also you got to make sure you subscribe to Dro TV on YouTube, because otherwise you'd miss amazing guests and interviews like this one with Modest Jones. So what you smoking on? I forget. What did you say that was?
Takal Blue Tang cookies.
Okay. Blue Tang cookies.
It's nice.
Nice.
It's a nice little pre-roll. We just got these in and they're good. They do the job.
Dope. Love it.
I'm gonna bring my joint with me to this next part.
There you go. Well, that's it for
Brother,
today.
what you got over there? I see you got a raw paper too. What you got?
I can't smoke in the house, so this is just my prop to end each episode.
I can only smoke in the house because no one's home, and I have plenty of hours to de-smoke the house. So
I'm not as fortunate. So if I smoked a week ago, should probably smell it in here. So
I'm sure I'll be in Florida soon. We have a lot of moves to make on the East Coast, so we'll stay tapped in for sure.
excellent.
Let me see your shirt.
Says if nature is illegal, freedom doesn't exist.
That shirt is lit. I need that. I love it. That's the vibe. You see, I didn't even see his shirt, y'all, and we are so synchronized. We on a wave. So get on the wave with us. If you're close enough, we'll pull you up. We're not gonna let you pull us down though. So get your mind right. And let's go. Let's do this. Let's do it together.
I love it. I couldn't have said it better, and I'm not going to. So that's it for today. I appreciate Modest Jones again. Thank you. And smoke them if you got them.
Smoke them if you got them.
What's up, Dro TV family? You can now stream the audio version of all these episodes on your favorite podcast player. And if you like more episodes like this, check out this playlist we put together over here for you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube. You don't want to miss more great content from Dro TV. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, smoke them if you got them.